Have you ever looked at the huge world of global markets and just felt completely lost on where to even begin? Well, you've come to the right place. In this explainer, we're going to break down the absolute must-knows of Forex and crypto trading designed specifically for beginners. So let's dive right in. But first things first, let's start with a really basic question. With so many opportunities right here at home, why are so many traders looking past their local stock markets to trade globally? What's the big deal? Well, the answer really boils down to one single powerful word: leverage. This is, without a doubt, the biggest attraction, and probably the most important concept you need to get your head around when you step into the world of global markets like Forex and crypto. At its heart, the idea is actually pretty simple. Leverage is kind of like a financial superpower. It gives you the ability to control a whole lot of money using just a tiny bit of your own. Think about it like this. You get to buy something that's worth 100 rupees, but you only have to put down 10 rupees from your own wallet. You get to control the full 100 rupee asset with just a fraction of the capital. Now, the key thing to remember here is that leverage magnifies, well, everything. A small bit of your own money can suddenly control a much, much bigger position in the market. This can seriously amplify your potential profits. But, and this is absolutely critical to understand, it also amplifies your potential losses in exactly the same way. It's a very powerful but also a very double-edged sword. Okay, so now that we've got a handle on leverage, let's look at the two main ways you'll actually use it, through products called futures and options. Now, for a beginner, knowing the difference here is, well, it's everything. It's key to making the right choice from the get-go. And this slide does a brilliant job of explaining the difference with a super simple analogy about buying rice. So you could go out and buy 1 kilogram of rice for the full price, let's say 100 rupees. Or you could buy what's called a futures contract for that exact same kilo of rice, but for only 40 rupees. Or even cheaper, you could buy an option contract for just 20 rupees. See? Both futures and options let you get in on the price action of the rice, but they're way cheaper, leveraged versions of it. So that begs a pretty obvious question, doesn't it? If you can get exposure to the exact same thing, why on earth is the option so much cheaper than the future? What's the catch? Well, the catch is perfectly summed up in this little quote. Options melt like ice cream. What does that even mean? It means that options have a ticking clock. They have a strict expiry date, and every single day that goes by, a little bit of their value, which is called the premium, it just melts away. It's a concept called time decay. So if the market doesn't move your way, and fast, the value of your option can literally vanish into thin air. And that right there is exactly why the advice for beginners is so crystal clear. Just focus on futures. They don't have that crazy, rapid daily time decay. You can hold them for way longer. And get this, in the world of crypto, they have something called perpetual futures, which have no expiry date at all. It just makes them so much simpler and a lot less stressful to manage when you're just starting out. Okay, so you've picked your product. Now it's time to understand the arena you're about to step into. And let's be clear, trading isn't something you do in a vacuum. It is a competition, and you need to know exactly who you're up against. We call them the whales. Just look at this chart for a second. The imbalance is kind of staggering, right? Retail traders, that's folks like you and me, we only make up about 5% of the market. The other 95%, that belongs to the institutional whales. We're talking massive banks, huge hedge funds, and giant corporations with what seems like unlimited money and resources. A great way to think about this is to compare trading to one of those super competitive entrance exams like the IIT JEE or the UPSC exams. Millions of people compete, right? But the success rate is tiny, just 1 or 2%. And just like with those exams, success in trading has almost nothing to do with luck. It's all about having a better strategy, better preparation, and more discipline than everyone else. And this brings us to a really vital strategic insight. As a small retail trader, you have zero chance of moving the market or fighting these whales, so don't even try. Your goal should be to become an expert at spotting their footprints. Your whole strategy should be built around figuring out what the big players are doing. You can often see this in things like giant spikes in trading volume, and then just riding their wave. Okay, let's get practical. You know the game, you know the players, but where can you actually, trade? This brings us to the legal stuff, and specifically what the rules are for traders here in India. And this slide really lays it out for us. Plain and simple, direct Forex trading, meaning you send your money from India to some broker overseas, is considered illegal under RBI and FEMA rules. It's a no-go. But on the other hand, crypto trading is legal. You are allowed to trade on regulated platforms, but you do have to follow specific tax rules, like tax deducted at source or TDS.
So what's the real difference here? Well, it all comes down to two things: regulation and taxation. The crypto platforms that are legal are registered in India and they follow all the Indian financial and tax laws. The big problem with Forex isn't really the trading itself, it's about stopping unregulated money from flowing out of the country, which sidesteps all of India's financial controls.
All right, we're in the home stretch. For our final section, let's learn the language. I mean, every field has its own special jargon, right? And trading is definitely no exception. Getting these basic terms down is your first step to actually understanding what's going on and making a real trade. First up, you're going to hear the word PIP all the time. It stands for percentage in point. But honestly, just think of it as the smallest little unit for measuring price changes. So if a currency price goes from 1.1050 to 1.1051, that's a 1 pip move. Simple as that. It's how you'll count your profits and losses.
Next is the spread. Now, you'll always see that there's a slightly different price if you want to buy something versus if you want to sell it. That tiny little gap between the two prices, that's the spread. And it's basically the broker's fee for making the trade happen for you. It's how they make their money.
And that brings us right back where we started, to leverage. The official definition is that it's using borrowed funds to make your trading position bigger. And just like the slide says, it's how your 1 lakh rupees can suddenly control a 10 lakh rupee trade. This is the tool that makes all of these markets so incredibly powerful.
So there you have it. That's our beginner's guide. We've talked about the power of leverage, we've picked a product, we've understood who we're up against, we've navigated the legal side of things, and we've learned the basic language. You now know the rules of the game, and you know who the other players are. So the only real question left is, are you ready to play?